Hello, I'm Kevin Benedict, Senior Vice President of Solution Strategy here at Regalix, and I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I'm thrilled to have as guest Patrick Salyer, CEO of Gigya, now part of SAP.
Thank you.
So Patrick, talk to us about, once again, thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Talk to us about that acquisition and what do you think was behind it? What was the motivation behind that?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Really do appreciate the time. So yeah, CEO of Gigya, we were acquired into SAP late last year, 2017, as part of the Hybris Customer Experience Group. And I mean, ultimately, what SAP and Hybris believes is that there needs to be a new model for managing customer data built on trust. And what does that mean? That really actually is around another topic you might hear a lot about, which is GDPR.
Yes.
And what is GDPR asking about? Well, it's really asking...
Let's stop and have an acronym alert.
Yeah.
Let's talk to the audience. GDPR is?
Sure. So GDPR, it's 350 pages of wonderful nighttime reading. It's a regulation that impacts really any company operating in some way in the EU, touching EU residents, EU citizens. And what the regulation says is you need to give consumers and customers and users certain rights around controlling their data and having transparency of how their data is being used, asking for consent. And this goes into effect later this month, May 25th, 2018, so it's very relevant.
So there's a sense of urgency because it's a countdown.
There's a countdown and there's a big fine if you don't
Okay.
get it right. So each infraction you can get fined up to 4% of your revenue.
Wow.
So needless to say, it's getting a ton of attention right now.
Okay, and marketers are all about data.
Right.
Matter of fact, individual sales guys all have their own personal databases and contact lists, and they spam, and all the different groups in the company, the product solutions guys, they have their own list of people they target, and they send information out. How's that model going to change?
Yeah, well, it's going to have to change in a big way. Right, so I think you're right. We've sort of been the wild, wild west where there's been lots of different data silos in an organization. In some cases, maybe there's third-party data being used from data brokers, and that data, who knows what sort of trust models around that. And that's really going to have to change, where we're going to have to actually build a relationship with a customer.
A relationship?
Yeah, who knew? It's been the relationship's been within CRM, but we forgot about that, right? Completely forgot. Thinking about what do I, even myself as a consumer, want? What do I want? I want control and transparency, right? I want the corner store experience, that I had growing up.
We want them to know us if there's value.
That's right. There's a value exchange, right? And what we've done a bunch of studies on this, and what the studies have shown us is that consumers are very likely to share data if you give them transparency and control. So I, as a business now, need to offer better products, better marketing, better services in exchange for something. That's GDPR in a nutshell.
So the bar is being raised.
That's right. That's
okay.
Right. Yeah. Now, to actually execute on this from an infrastructure perspective, it can be kind of challenging because of what you talked about, right? So the average company has tens of different data silos. And in many cases, they have hundreds of different websites and applications. And all of a sudden, you need to actually build that direct relationship with the customer, give them the controls and the permissions to manage their consent, their preferences, tie that to a unified profile, and then start to share that or orchestrate it to all these silos to actually put it into action.
Let's talk about the scope and scale here. You gave an example earlier of a top 5 retail company with over 2,000 websites.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean.
And how are they going to make sure they have consent through every different marketing effort they've done?
Yeah. Well, let me give you the worst case and best case scenario.
Okay.
Worst case scenario is they view these as point solutions, where these 2,000 websites, and each website has 3 or 4 different touch points. They just try to get consent one-off in each location. And that's really a nightmare, right, from a customer experience perspective, but also an administrative perspective, right? Or you can be even worse than that. You can have just an email address where someone basically obtains consent. I've actually heard of examples like that. So instead, this needs to be viewed from a privacy by design. You need to think about like the design of the customer experience and building that into the workflows, but actually having the technology or the platform to actually have consent unified in one location, right? And there's now new technologies that are emerging to help do this. As you can imagine, at Gigya we've been focused on that now as part of SAP. We're focused on that with the launch of what we're calling the Customer Data Cloud.
Okay.
Essentially, Well, we believe it's the only customer data management solution in the market that's built on a trusted, kind of consent-driven, permission-based driven data model.
Wow.
Yeah, which is, I mean, given sort of what's happening with Facebook and everything, GDPR, it's like absolute must that there needs to be a rethinking the way this is done, right?
Oh, and one of the parts that I was particularly frightened by, I guess, is the complexity. Yeah. All the, when you see these companies that are 40 years old plus, right? And every different way they've marketed, all the different data they have.
Right.
They have, even their compensation models for salespeople, for marketers, for everybody is kind of based on these models of mass. Right? So we're going to do marketing automation. We have these MarTech stacks that are all designed for mass marketing. Yeah. And suddenly every single thing has to be rethought.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yet, I think we haven't even got it right, even historically, despite being able to use whatever mechanism possible, tracking users, cooking them, all this stuff. There's still a million data silos. We're still not executing on that. So in many cases, it needed to be rethought anyways.
Yes.
We use so many projects around knowing the customer, building a centralized view. So we actually believe this is a forcing function to do that. I mean, marketers that are getting this right are seeing this as just a massive opportunity to say, yes, I have to have that relationship with the consumer, I have to get consent, but I can think about adding the profile to that, a permission-based profile, first-party data that none of my competitors have, right? It's a unique relationship I have with that customer and consumer. And if you think about what someone like Amazon, why are they winning? I mean, they have that relationship with the customer, they have that trust. And I think every single business out there needs to have that same point of view moving forward.
Absolutely. So Patrick Salyer, and Patrick, if people want to get more information on SAP's Customer Data Cloud,
yes,
where do they find it?
Yeah, you can just come to sap.com. We've got a lot of content there. Certainly reach out to us anytime, but we really appreciate
All right,
your time.
Patrick, thank you so much, and I want to thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.